caught me in a coma, and I don't think I want to ever come back to this world again. Kind of like it in a coma, because no one's ever gonna. Oh, make me come back to this world again. This is the Community Solutions Podcast. Jason Bradley, Andrew Richter, 365 days COVID-19 free. How you doing?
What's COVID-19 again?
The coronavirus.
Oh, yeah. You got the limes for that?
That's right.
Anywhere? Got the limes for that? Yeah. Never fear, we are here defying any order to stay at home. I will not do that.
Yeah.
So you can come and arrest me. But my immune system, strong like bull,
Yes.
I got nothing to worry about.
That's right.
I'll tell you what, Jay.
Yeah.
So what was that song again? Damn, you
lyrics?
never fall for that.
No.
In a coma? Is that what that was called? In a coma?
You're close.
I'm in a coma?
No. That sounds like a Ramones song.
Razor Ramon? I don't know. I have no idea on that. I can't even fathom a guess. Two Live Crew. I don't know.
My goodness.
What was it Biggie Smalls?
We're in the rock world here. Where they use real instruments and
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
They still do that? I didn't know they did that anymore.
Yeah.
They don't have dancers and everybody around them and all that?
Some rock bands do, I guess.
Well, that's for the birds as far as I'm concerned.
I don't think they had dancers.
If you got real talent and you can, well, yeah. Who the hell was it?
Guns N' Roses, Coma.
Oh, hey, I know them.
Yeah.
I've gotten them right before.
Yes, you have.
All
Not
right.
today.
Yeah, I'm not in a paradise city, I guess.
No, that's true. None of us are.
No, we're in St. Louis Park. We couldn't be. Now, Jay.
Yes.
Being on our self, having to stay home a little more than I like right now.
Speak for yourself. I'm out busting my butt, but
Yeah, I know. I saw you picking up garbage with the chain gang this morning.
Well,
but here's the thing.
They had to let us out of the prison,
We'll get into here. That orange suit was a little tight on you, by the way. Here's the thing. I've decided that if we get stuck at home, first off, after a few days, I'm going to become Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
Okay.
This can't go on very long. People are going to rebel against us.
Yes.
Just telling you, this is not going to work if that's because I know these Democratic governors are stepping all over each other to be the next to, take away freedom as quickly as they can. But pretty soon we'll be sitting at the bar with Lloyd. We'll sit in the bar with Lloyd there, talking about how slow it is. Anyhow, I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to do? What am I going to read? What am I going to watch? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I watched today? And I did have a lot of free time today. So I did go into the office for about 10 hours. I watched, very quickly, Game 7 of the 1960 World Series. Now, Jay, I know you were probably there. But here's the thing.
It wasn't even a twinkle.
Huh?
It wasn't even a decade away from being a twinkle.
You were 28 years old by my calculations.
My word.
Now, here's the
you
thing.
did graduate from Cooper.
Yeah.
There's that.
I run out of fingers. It gets tough.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. I'm deciding that I'm going to watch baseball, wrestling, old Vikings games, something like that, a couple a day if I am stuck at home, just to keep my senses, because it's one thing to be stuck at home and still be able to watch sports or do something, anything.
Yes.
It's another thing to be basically an innocent person stuck in jail, which is what we're being threatened with here. So, 1960, Jay. Now, do you know the 1960 World Series? No, let's test your baseball acumen
I
here.
don't.
Really?
Wait, I'm going to sound like an idiot. Was that the first? That wasn't the first one the Twins were in. No, that was 60 what? 67? I don't know.
It'd be 65.
65 was close.
And if you want to get technical,
around.
If you want to get technical, it was 1924 because we were the Washington Senators.
Well, yes.
Before that.
That's like saying the Vikings used to be the Duluth Eskimos and what they did counted.
Yeah, but it's the same franchise, Jay. They moved.
Yes.
Okay. Anyhow.
All right.
So 1960, you got the greatest team, of course, of all time, the Yankees. Of course, greatest franchise in the history of sports. against, for the first time since 1927, the Pittsburgh Pirates.
I like the Pirates.
Now,
yes,
Pirates with a this is the World Series where Bill Mazeroski hit the home run in the bottom of the ninth to win 10-9 in Game 7. A very interesting series if you have a chance to go back and look at it. The Yankees won one game, I want to say 16-0, and another game 18-2. They doubled Pittsburgh's runs, doubled their ERA, blah blah blah, and yet Pittsburgh won the series because they won all the close games.
Right.
And it's very interesting because they were ahead. Game 7 was very back and forth. The Yankees tied it in the top of the ninth. Yogi Berra hit a double or something and knocked two guys in. And I would recommend Game 7 of the 19. You got the Pirates. You had Roberto Clemente was just beginning his ascent. Dick Groat, the shortstop, was the MVP. At Vern Law, Elroy Face as the main starting pitchers for Pittsburgh. You baseball fans might know them. But a great Game 7, one of the greatest Game 7s of all time. I don't know if it beats 1912. Okay, because there was a tie in 1912. Technically, it was Game 8. Now, I don't know if it beats that. Okay, but I am determined. The first World Series I remember was 1984. Yes. The Tigers won with the same team the Twins beat a few years later, basically.
Right.
So that's one I want to relive as well. So I'm going to relive these things I didn't get to see, things I did get to see that I haven't seen for 25 or 30 years. I've got my wrestling DVDs. I'm going to find my old VCR.
Oh, boy.
Because I've got some VHS.
Isn't it sitting right under the beta hooked up to your TV?
No, it's my wife threw it in the storage. I don't know.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, it's not out there. We couldn't have that out
there.
Not sure if it still works. Not sure if my TV, those flat screens, even have the hookup anymore. It's all HDMI now. I don't even know if we have that. So, that's what. So, Jay, my question to you, is what are you going to do if you are on lockdown? What's going to be on your VCR or DVD or your YouTube or whatever? What are you planning on doing?
Working.
Well, let's pretend you can't work.
Oh, I can. Being a musician, I mean, this is what stinks. It's like I play.
No, you can't. No. You can't go out of the corner and sing for quarters. That's not.
I play 150 shows a year, and everything is canceled. The bars are shut down. The venues are closed. All of it is shut down, and I cannot go out and play a show. This is what I do. This is my livelihood. So what am I doing instead? I am turning to the internet, and I'm just going to do live shows and record me playing music, and I'm going to put it out there and put a virtual tip jar out there if any of you followers want to drop some money in there to well, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, maybe we'll get into this, but they closed all of the bars and restaurants and everything, and they're saying, well, don't worry, all the people that work there are going to get unemployment and they're paid time off.
Total lie.
Well, even if they do, I don't, because I'm not an employee. I am an independent contractor.
Same thing, me too.
And so I'm kind of stuck. That's what I have to do, and so I'm gonna do stuff online. When I'm not online, I'll try to be working on songs and writing new songs and. I'll be doing online concerts and hopefully everybody that's climbing the walls and needs a distraction for 20 minutes, come listen.
But that's the thing. We don't have our normal distractions. After 9/11, a week later, I could watch a baseball game. I could watch Saturday Night Live. I could watch. I could go out. And have a drink and decompress what I witnessed.
Yeah.
Here we can't do that. It's a lot harder to do that.
Right.
And these stay-at-home orders, which we're going to get into here, and what's going on here, and here's the thing: the loser in all of this, no matter what happens, and I still predict this is going to blow over very quickly. I don't buy that this is going to hang around and hang around and hang around. Again, like every epidemic or flu, they seem to come and go.
Yeah,
they seem
and it
to.
will.
And of course, it will. But the damage that we are self-inflicting right now.
Yeah.
And we are doing it to ourselves, mind you. I think will far outweigh anything that be worse than anything this virus could have caused. There's no way this virus could have caused 20% unemployment.
Right.
We're doing it to ourselves. Mm-hmm. Okay. And at what point, the loser in all this is going to be any semblance of limited government.
Yeah.
I mean, go back to 9/11. You look at the residuals of that. That was a long time ago now. Everything from the TSA to the Department of Homeland Security, which can't grab their ass with both hands, to two wars, to the Patriot Act, all of those things, to domestic spying.
Yeah.
All of those things live with us today, right now, all of them.
Right. They don't go away.
So from this, you're going to see, everybody's pushing for, paid time off and free this. And
right.
You're going to see the world's biggest bailout on the face of the earth in epic proportions. Now, part of it is different than 2008 because in 2008, people made stupid investments. I still don't know where our tax dollars went. Here, the government is complicit in this. And they always are. Mm-hmm. Okay, but they're really complicit in this.
Right.
So, in the end, if this goes away quickly, government's going to credit themselves for what a great job they did.
Yeah.
If this goes on and on and on, they're going to blame us. Well, you didn't listen. You millennials didn't listen, and you people like me and you who work hard and are out every day, no matter what. You should have stayed home, you selfish bastard. So they're going to blame us in the end, and government will be exempt from all of this. And big government, bigger government, endless government will be the ultimate thing that comes out of this.
Well, and if you don't think that they're going to try to slip things in and do things under cover of night, they've already tried. The Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, already tried to stick Planned Parenthood funding, getting rid of the Hyde Amendment into a funding bill for relief with the virus.
I shouldn't laugh at it, but I know it happens all the time.
So if you are listening, public out there, think that they're not going to try that, and it's not going to be just Democrats, it's going to be progressives on both sides of the aisle that are going to put things in that we are never going to be able to get rid of. It's inevitable, and that's why it is incumbent upon us to really take heed and watch what's going on. And when they're talking about $1 trillion funding and this and that, what are they sticking in there? We have to hold their feet to the fire.
Yeah, but how do you do that when there's no, it's almost like everything's happening so quickly that you almost can't follow what's going on.
Yeah.
You can't, if people are worried about, paying the bills or their next check, or if they're going to be working next week, they're not paying attention to what's in a Corona bill in Washington. They can't pay attention. You know what? And I tell you what, I rip on social media all the time, but what you said about that was broken on social media without and other people like Tucker Carlson and people like that. By the way, do you know that until yesterday, we were still settling refugees? We finally put a stop to it yesterday.
Really?
We were still settling refugees as of yesterday. So you get these extremes. On the one hand, 40% of the population, which is not true. Right. No way that's going to happen. Yet on the other hand, how come 400 people can be at the grocery store and I can't go get my hair cut?
Right.
Look, here's the thing, okay? I know I say that a lot, but the governor here in Minnesota issued quite a few edicts, and I've really been disappointed that I keep saying I'm disappointed, but I don't know why I am, because I expected nothing less.
Right.
You know, I mean, our Republican leadership, I couldn't possibly think less of them. So I don't know why I'm expecting them to do anything. But the governor in a week has assumed more power, than any governor in the entire history of the state combined.
Yes.
I mean, the Governor Walz thinks he has the authority, and I don't know where he gets this, because I read Statute 32.12, which is where he claims he has this power from.
Right.
Where he basically can shut down anything he wants for any length of time he wants with no review or no permission from anybody whatsoever. Now, there's a few caveats to that, I think, but I have heard little in the way of even questioning the governor's authority from friends on either side of the aisle.
Yeah.
And then there's that he isn't going far enough.
Oh, he's gone plenty far.
He's gone beyond far. And declaring a state of emergency, I think when this is over, I mean, we've heard a handful of people, Roger Chamberlain being one. I've heard a couple people, but for the most part, nobody will touch him in this state. I don't know why, but nobody will touch the governor. I think Republicans don't want the responsibility that goes. You know, the governor can always blame Washington. If something fails, that's what he'll do. He'll pass the buck to somebody else. But I think Republicans are afraid to go and take charge of something. They have a role to play. The legislature has a role to play in this. But Jay, and this is, stick with me on this. This may be an extreme example, but could the governor declare that we've established now that he can declare a state of emergency and shut down whatever business, public, private, anything that he wants. He basically can shut down for any length of time. Okay? We've established that.
Right.
Can he declare a state of emergency with climate change?
Yeah.
And shut down mining, shut down fracking, shut down, not necessarily saying that all applies to Minnesota.
Right.
Shut down drilling, shut down anything that he disagrees with. Because if he has the sole power to do that, if we let him in this case,
right?
What is the rationale that we're going to use to stop him in the next one?
Right.
He could declare a state of emergency if a tornado comes through, which it probably will this summer, and shut this down, shut that down, give contracts to whoever. I mean, where is the check and balance here of, hold on a second, these decisions, I mean, he's made decisions to change unemployment eligibility.
Right.
He's making law. I'm sorry, but that's what he's doing. I get it. I mean, if you're going to put people out of work, force them out of work, not the market laying somebody off or creating a job or, seasonal unemployment, the normal cyclical things you see. But he wrote his own law there.
Yeah. Absolutely, he did.
And a couple of Republicans have hemmed and hawed, and for the most part, it's like, you're not going to do nothing. What are you going to do?
Governor. He's the governor.
Yeah, well, they'll say something at a Tea Party meeting, and then they'll go back to St. Paul and won't do anything. So, I mean, are we? And I mean, the wheels to the federal Treasury. And here's the ironic part: to do all this, we're going to borrow money from China.
Right.
I mean, ultimately, that's what we're going to do.
But we're not. And maybe you haven't heard this, but we wrote a bunch of Treasury bills. Nobody bought them.
I know, because
30-year Treasury bills, and nobody bought them. Our Fed had to buy them.
I would buy Confederate dollars before I would buy U.S. Treasury bills.
I mean, usually,
the Continental dollar, I would buy that.
Usually, though, I mean, the U.S. dollar is the one place where they go. That's always seen as a sound investment. That's where other countries are like, yeah, okay, I will buy your Treasury bills. I don't have a problem with that. You guys are good to pay.
Of course they're good to pay. We know we'll deficit spend from now till eternity.
Right, but nobody bought the last batch. The Fed had to buy our own bonds, and that's not good.
So you could print money and then buy the money back at the same time.
Yeah.
It's not like the Fed is made up of the greatest people on earth here either.
Oh, no.
So, I mean, so with whose money does the Fed buy it from?
Well, other countries would use their currency, their money supply to buy our bonds. We have to print it.
Right.
I mean, that's where it comes from.
And I think a lot of people just don't see the merry-go-round that can cause.
Yeah.
And again, it's all because we don't control our spending. We don't control. There's so many segments of our economy that we don't control anymore. Whether that's manufacturing, I've said this on this show before. We don't produce the defense parts anymore. You're not an independent nation if you can't produce the parts to defend yourselves, the weapons to defend yourself, and we outsource that. I mean, and I hate to make it so political, but I tried to stomach a Joe Biden speech, and when he got out of his episode, he was having a episode where he forgot where he was, or I don't really know. He was talking sideways, and then I sat here and I thought to myself, he was sitting there going on and on about how the Chinese, we have to be nice to them.
What?
And I'm sitting here going, pal, you've spent 50 years in Washington. You've watched how many industries get off our shores and leave. And Joe Biden never did a damn thing about it.
No.
He supported the TPP, and you've said, who is Joe Biden to talk about watching things go to China when his ass has been in Washington since... let's see, who won the World Series in 1972? The Oakland A's, okay? He's been there since then, since Reggie Jackson was on the A's, okay?
That was a long time ago.
So, I remember Reggie with the Angels. I don't know if but I'm sitting here going, how do we go to you for answers?
Right.
And the only thing that, I don't know what's going to turn it around now, because you can't, it sounds great. Oh, we're going to bring, those jobs are going to come back here. And in some cases they have.
Yes.
But the truth is, with the tax situation in America, with the health insurance situation, with the open borders crowd that has been pushed by both sides, in my opinion.
Yes.
I don't know how. We keep talking about, well, we got to. Are we finally realizing that we're buying medical devices from? Is Joe Biden just figuring that out?
I don't know. It sounds like a lot of our medicine is made over in China, or the ingredients are secured from China. It looks like that's going to change. At least we're learning our lesson there, but
ultimately, the only way it's going to change permanently is if the private sector can make a profit doing it.
Right.
In other words, the conditions have to be there so entrepreneurs buy something, produce something, make something, market something, and sell something to a consumer that buys something.
Right. And when you tax the snot out of
every phase of it,
yeah, from the resources they use up to
deliveries to every drop of that is taxed.
Yeah.
So ultimately, that all sounds great, but it could take 20 years to unravel all that government.
Yeah.
On top of it. Now, I know that some sectors of manufacturing have turned around recently. That's definitely true, and that's a good thing in my opinion, but there's so far to go. We're so far past. I'm not even sure. Here's the thing. You got to educate the public first.
Yeah.
I feel the public still doesn't get
right.
Where stuff is made or manufactured and why it's important. And I'll tell you what, there's just as big a problem on the right with this. Because I've gotten into it with some of my libertarian buddies who are just like, well, it's market forces. Labor just goes where it's cheapest. I'm like, wait a minute. Those jobs are going to leave anyway. First off, I don't want to make it sound like one job's more important than another or something like that, but you can't tell me. What are you going to tell somebody? Are you going to tell somebody making $35 an hour, hey, sorry, but your job we're not going to help you. We're not going to protect your job. We're not going to do anything with Mark. You're just going to have to go deliver pizzas now and watch your job just get outsourced because, economics. Milton Friedman gave a speech one time about blah blah blah. I mean, is that the angle we're going to take?
I hope not.
It's the angle we have. Republicans have pushed cheap labor. They are just as guilty of pushing open borders.
Absolutely.
From George Bush to Ron Paul to John McCain to Mitt Romney. They all have pushed it before. So I don't buy, the argument. I mean, I know that it's the left that is trying to, not enforce the law and get them to stay here permanently, turn them into Democratic voters. Okay, I understand that.
Right.
But a role has been played on both sides of turning the other way and pretending this is not a problem and watching jobs go down to the lowest common denominator. And ultimately, when you have a virus and we have to go to the country that it originated from, the country that hates us, really is our main enemy right now, as far as I'm concerned, is China.
Yep, China and Russia.
Can you imagine having to go to Stalin and say in the 50s and say, hey, buddy, we need your ingredients for something or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine working with Mussolini on stamping out? The plague. I mean, it's to me, it's almost to that.
Right.
So, anyhow, but here's the thing: the things that are happening under the radar, locally. Now, you and I are local guys here. That's what this show is mainly about.
Yes.
Okay, the things that are happening locally. Since when can a county declare a state of emergency, Jay? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I've never heard of that either.
So, but Ramsey County, Hennepin...
Counties and cities are doing it.
But what the hell is that?
I don't know. That's...
I mean, I've never heard of that before. What do they... They must get free stuff.
Well, maybe.
They got to get free stuff, declaring emergency.
But, I mean, this is part of the whole, the push has been for cities to, be resilient, right? That's the term, so that when there's an emergency, you have a plan in place, and you can declare said emergency and put your plan of action into motion. And a lot of times, those plans of action involve taking power.
I would say every time they involve taking power.
Yeah.
Here's a story from NPR News. I wonder how many people are aware of this, have even heard of this. And you tell me, I want to read this headline to you, Jay, and you tell me where this makes sense. To slow the spread of COVID-19, coronavirus, county attorneys considering releasing some jail detainees.
Wow.
So the rest of us have to stay home.
Right.
Okay, but we're going to release people from jail to fight this virus. Now, if we listen to the governor... Maybe
they will come and stay detained in our homes as well.
Jail is the safest place somebody could be.
Well, supposedly it's like going through the jail, and everybody in the jail is getting sick.
But jail is easy to quarantine.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean,
stay in your cell.
Nobody's going anywhere.
Stay in your cell.
Yeah, nobody's leaving. Who cares about visitors? They can stay away from it. It's not like you have a dying relative somewhere.
It's called lockdown.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, lights out. That's what it's called. Ramsey County Attorney John Choi said Tuesday his office is looking at this is Tuesday, St. Patrick's Day, looking at releasing people from jail who don't need to be there. Well, let me ask a question. How many prisoners there don't need... Why are they in jail if they don't need to be there?
Right, exactly. It's like the court should have cleared that up.
Not to be outdone, of course, Mike Freeman announced that his office is working with public defenders and others to see who might be able to be released safely. Yeah, Mr. Freeman, that's called bail. Okay, that's what that's called. Now, you want to speed up cases, or you want to have the courts be open for 24 hours so they can take, okay, fine, whatever. We're guaranteed swift justice here, and I have no objection to that.
And, there might be some people who have, been in jail a while and done their time, and they could, with good behavior, maybe their cases can be revisited.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's pulled,
just like opening the jail doors and going, "Hey, everybody out!"
Somebody's pulled in because they're late on some child support payments. We could let them go for a few weeks. Okay, fine. But I mean, I just love the statement. We're looking at releasing people from jail who don't need to be there.
Okay,
Mr. John Choi, can they go stay at your house? I just like to know, because I'm guessing they're not going to come. They're not going to live by him.
Right.
It's important to remember that people in jail haven't been convicted of anything yet. Most people in jail are there because they can't afford bail. Well, that means they committed a pretty bad crime, right?
Right.
I mean, or maybe bail wasn't. The judge said no bail.
Maybe.
Could be. I mean.
I've never been in jail. I've never been arrested, so I don't know how tough it is to get a bail bond or,
Well, a lot of times somebody puts a property or something like that for it and things like that. But, Jay, we've talked about this agenda on the part of some county attorneys to decriminalize things by not prosecuting them.
Right.
And is this a step in that direction? I mean, county attorneys have a lot of leeway. I mean, we've done shows on this where, there's talk about what happens if looting starts, what happens if, and there are already county attorneys across the country who have already stated that they're not going to prosecute.
As long as it's under $750?
I don't know. I don't know if anything outside Dallas. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But, I mean.
Oh, boy.
And to announce that publicly, I mean, you're giving a license to any moron who wants to do something.
Yeah.
Well, the rest of us are basically in prison. I mean, that's pretty scary, though, to think that you're going to just let out prisoners at your whim and just decide, well, they don't need to be here. They're in jail. They were arrested, but we don't care why. I mean, it's just kind of.
Right.
It's scary. I'll tell you what. You want to go down to Nolens. We're not talking about school bus nagging yet. New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell signed a coronavirus. I keep saying corniferous when I read that. My contacts must be bothering me. Last week, that allowed her to ban the sale and transportation of firearms.
What?
Yes, this is from Breitbart.com.
Wow.
She signed a follow-up proclamation further emphasizing her emergency powers to suspend or limit dispensing or transportation of alcoholic beverages.
What?
So not only can you not...
Prohibition is back.
Yeah, we've got the 18th Amendment back, and the second... She repealed the Second Amendment and put the 18th back in and repealed the 21st.
Yes.
She just did that. The mayor of New Orleans just did that.
Wow. I'd like her job.
Yeah, the declaration declaring the mayor's power to restrict gun sales and transportation says she is empowered, if necessary, to suspend or limit the sale of alcoholic beverages, firearms, explosives, and combustibles. So here's another person who thinks that their power to do anything, and remember, never let a good crisis go to waste.
Absolutely.
And I'm not calling this the burning of the rights tag here. I'm not saying that.
Right.
I'm saying if it wasn't for places like Breitbart, something like this would never get reported. Yeah. You're not going to turn on CNN and hear that. All they're going to do is argue about whether this is a Chinese virus or the Spanish
Trump
flu,
virus.
or something like that. There's no reporting going on. There's no interest in the truth.
Right.
There is the mayor of Champaign, Illinois.
Oh, I know all about this one. This is a good one.
Mayor Debra Frank Fienen issued an emergency coronavirus order that gives her the power to halt ammunition and firearms sales in the city. Now, why would they do that? I mean, stop and think. We're at a rough period here.
Well, because we're not allowed to protect ourselves. People can loot, people can get out of jail free, but we're not allowed to protect our property.
I see. So
or our lives.
They're going to let people out of jail. They let criminals out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
Law-abiding citizens, however.
Oh, that's a whole other deal.
Can't have a Shirley Temple.
Right.
Can't have a weapon to protect themselves.
Well, and they don't care about us. They don't care about our property. I mean, read further down in that where it talks about the government has the right to take any property and the deed associated with that property.
Wow, where's that?
Read down in the list. It's got a whole list of stuff there. You didn't see that?
Well, I'm still on the Breitbart.
Okay.
Article. I didn't.
In the Champaign one, yeah.
The Miller High Life, the Champaign of
Champaign, Illinois, the Miller Light of Cities, I guess. I don't know.
Miller High Life.
Whatever. I don't know.
Come on, Jay. Okay, yes. The order, ToddStarnes.com. That's where this mayor executive order includes ban of sale on firearms and ammo, allows the city to be flexible to properly respond to the needs of our community. Yeah, make sure we can't do anything. The order allows for violating of parts of the Open Meeting Act.
Yeah, well, let's look at that for just a second, not skip over that. So with an open meeting law, it means...
Maybe slightly different in each state.
It could be, but basically what they're saying is that, A, the public needs to know about any meetings of public officials. And it also means that you can't assemble a quorum of people, A, without public knowledge, B...
in Minnesota, it's like 10 days or something.
Yeah, you have to have there's a time limit on it. And then B, you can't be communicating behind the scenes by email and phone and getting together in the party room of Shakey's Pizza. Yeah. And you can't do this for the purpose of talking about policy.
Correct. They can get together at like a fundraiser or something like that, but they cannot.
A public event.
Yes, but the public event has to be advertised X amount of days.
In Minnesota, and I'd imagine that in most states it's similar.
I would guess.
It's got the same intent anyways.
I would guess there may be some nuances.
And so what they're saying is they can get around that. They can have secret meetings or they can talk behind the scenes about policy without it being public facing. They don't have to include everybody.
I'll tell you what will be worse is to have public meetings with no announcement, because they can say, what are you talking about? We met in public.
Right.
You could look at it watch it on TV after it happened,
right?
But nobody was informed about it.
Yeah, that's a big item on that list,
and you will have to keep up on this, because that is an invitation for who the hell knows what coming after this. Closing of all bars, taverns, liquor stores. Remember, it says closing,
right?
Not limited. Closing,
right?
Ban sale or giving away of gasoline or other liquid flammable combustible products in any container. Direct shut-off of power, water, and gas.
Wow.
Take possession of private property and obtain full title to the same. And prohibit or restrict ingress and egress to and from the city.
So they can say nobody comes in, nobody goes out.
Yeah, exactly.
They can, like it says there, they can take your car and they can take the title to that car. They can take your house and they can take the title to that house. That is some hubris.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm it's not often I'm speechless, Jay, but I really damn near. I mean, that's like a whole wish list. That's like a decade's worth of legislation.
Yeah.
Okay, just declared by a mayor of Champaign, Illinois. I mean, Champaign in the ass, Illinois. So,
Wow. And here's the thing, it's what, not Rahm Emanuel anymore, who's mayor of Chicago, but whoever took his place is kind of like, wow.
Thought it was a lady that took it.
Yeah, it might be. Wow. I didn't even think of that.
No kidding. I mean, I bet everybody else is scratching their heads like...
you can do that? Hey, Bill.
Now I have to look up the mayor of Chicago.
Yeah. Hey, Bill, you might want to...
Lori Lightfoot.
Okay.
Lightfoot? Is that right?
Must be.
I guess so. $216,000 is the salary to be the mayor of...
Wow.
I think that's more than like a U.S. senator makes.
Yeah, that is a lot of money.
Holy smoke.
That's got to be more than a senator.
Well, I mean, let's not forget they get a lot of...
special deals.
Stuff from other stuff.
Right.
Ask Richard Burr. I'm just checking to see if anybody's followed Gavin Newsom yet and destroyed the whole state here. No, not yet. I'm going to guess the governor of Illinois will be next. I'm just going to guess that guy will be. That guy will be next at it. Okay, well, Jay, a little closer to home. Local governments, and we're getting this from the ICE News Chronicle. Local governments close buildings, cancel hearings to prevent COVID-19. Here's what Two Harbors, Silver Bay, and Lake County are doing for our benefit. Okay. Effective on March 18th through March 27th, all of these buildings are shut down. City staff will report to work and respond to calls. They will conduct regular business. Two Harbors liquor store will remain open. Got to collect that revenue. All non-essential employees, a city committee and commission meetings are canceled. So that's interesting. And basically the Silver Bay in particular is putting the city employees in charge of the government.
Yes.
With no oversight.
They are. Yeah. What does it say? The mayor and the city employees are allowed to make decisions in lieu of the city council, right?
Mayor Scott Johnson asked the city council to approve a motion allowing all department heads, the city administrator, to work together to make decisions on behalf of the council until the crisis subsides. Now, there's no end date to this, by the way.
What if this goes 18 months?
Well,
they
could find a reason to push it out.
Exactly. Because this could flare up again in the fall when flu season starts again. We don't know if it's seasonal like that yet, but until they find a vaccine, it will come and go.
Since it's a fluid situation, I would like our department heads to have flexibility to adjust as things happen and not have to call a council meeting basically he's saying, we don't care what you do. We're not going to watch what you do. Don't worry about it. Do what you want until some date that we don't know yet. By the way, the motion to abdicate representing the people.
Yes.
Was approved unanimously.
Of course it was. Idiots.
Talk about not taking accountability for anything.
Scott Johnson, is that his name? Mayor Scott Johnson?
Yeah, Mayor Scott Johnson.
Mayor Scott Johnson. Way to get elected to represent the people and then decide to just abdicate your responsibilities because you're scared to go in a room with a couple other people. It's probably a 5-person. It's a 5-person council in Silver Bay because it's a few hundred people or.
Okay, but pretend you have a council meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, people can sit far apart. People can, I don't know how many people would go there right now. Maybe there's no. You could always postpone decisions, but you can't. Resign as you know what I want. I want this council's resignation.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
They're not doing anything anyways.
Well, yeah. Why are they getting paid still?
They better not be.
I'm sure they are.
Getting paid for what?
But but they're basically abdicating their duties as a council.
Yeah. We're busy. We got things going on. So you guys just, when something comes up, just make a decision.
Yeah, we just got Night Court season 4 just from Amazon just showed up. You go ahead and you figure it out. We'll just retroactively approve everything that you do, or not care, not look at it at all.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on in our neck of the woods. That or not in Minnesota. I mean.
Yeah, up the North Shore there.
And I'm just sort of curious. What do you think's going on in cities like St. Louis Park, cities like that we haven't even heard of yet? Who knows what's being talked about behind the scenes?
Right.
As far as once a couple cities do this, we all know cities look at each other. Let me tell you what I hope happens out of this. It's not going to happen. But I'm just going to say what I hope. Right. We talk about social distancing. That's the new buzzword that
yes.
you hear. Here's my question. It's amazing to watch government promote that. And all you hear out of government's mouth is high-density housing, taking transit, community squares where diverse people come together and celebrate the sunshine and the corn crops and the people with long hair and sandals wearing a motel shower curtain,
patchouli oil. Yeah.
And now are they admitting that? I mean, they have spent a lot. The governor of California talks about their protecting their homeless. Yeah. The hell have you done for the homeless the entire time you've been governor?
Yeah,
Mr. Hair that never moves. I mean, what is this?
Goodness. Yeah.
I mean, these policies are helping to. I mean, if this, it really is a you call it an epidemic or a panic, whatever your definition of is that. I mean, we have 89 cases here in Minnesota, and 75 counties that haven't reported one, and we shut the whole state down. But the point, man, I'm sure it's higher than that. I know people haven't been tested. I know some people are sick and they're just staying home, and I'm sure that's happening. But the point being, we have encouraged people, if not forced them, to all congregate together, share the roads with everybody.
Right.
And now we're telling people, no, don't do that. Yeah, no, back off. Don't do that anymore. We don't.
Right. Now that you all got rid of your cars to take the light rail and the bus.
The bus is suspending operations, And
now everybody's stranded. Thanks a lot. Get on your bike. Go to the grocery store.
Why not? Within half a mile, Grandma can walk to the damn grocery store. So, I mean, I think my hope is that somebody out there, anybody, looks at that and goes, holy smoke. I mean, we can't be pushing that anymore, and maybe it turns around somewhere.
Right.
Or am I crazy? Is that never going to happen?
That's a good question.
It's not going to happen in the big cities, but
no.
I think that opposition to clustering people, and I'll tell you what, it's really where you worry about little Italies and little Somalias and little things like that, where you got 15 people living in one house.
Those are where these things really just like wildfire. They go through a community.
Boom. Yeah.
And we saw that, if you look at the plague back in 1918, it was those tight-knit, dense communities.
Not to mention the trenches.
But anywhere where you're pushing people together, and that's what the push has been, though. It's we need higher density. We need higher density. We need higher density.
Not to mention the sanitary conditions and things like that aren't the best. They're certainly lower. Right. And so you're going to, that's just breeding grounds.
Yeah. Well, you can't tell me in places like New Hope, where it's over half rentals, that those apartment buildings that are over there are being sanitized on a daily basis.
Of course they are.
No.
people may be doing that to their own apartments, but they're not doing that generally speaking.
Right.
And, here's another concern of mine. Anytime this happens, is this what's going to happen now? The next time we have the bird flu is
everybody runs
the world going to get baseball going to get shut down for 2 months. Is that what's going to happen now every time?
I don't think so. I mean, I think I'm crossing my fingers here and taking a big leap, but I think that they will wait for like the World Health Organization to get involved and just
run by China, by the way.
Oh yeah, there's that. But
there's some independent people there, but not enough.
Right. I think that I think the world will wait and say, okay, is this spreading like the last one? Is this not spreading like the last one? And they're going to watch the numbers. I think people will get jittery. I think you'll see people start to head to the grocery store a lot sooner.
But will people self do this too? I mean, will a certain amount of people? Because my thinking, this is just my thinking, is that if that we may be not hastening this, we may be prolonging this by shutting people in. Put it to you this way. The more people are, I don't know how to word this, but the more people aren't doing normal stuff, okay, you're spreading fear and anxiety, number one.
Right.
Okay, which F's with people's brains and gets them crazy. You're keeping X amount of things open and X amount of things closed for whatever length of time, we have no idea. So there's that uncertainty hanging out there. Wouldn't the better option be to encourage people like we were doing 2 weeks ago? Because look, the cases are going to go up. People are going to get sick from this.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to die.
I mean, this is a real sickness that is sweeping the globe, but not everywhere is going to be North Italy.
Right, but we protect our seniors. Mm-hmm. And people, because if you go back to swine flu, H1N1, they're the people who got really hit by that. You protect the kids.
Yeah.
Okay, you can cancel school for a little while. Most of them are on spring break anyway.
Apparently, we have to protect the millennials who don't know how to at least take it easy in this environment. And
millennials are just a class to themselves. But the point is like, for example, me as an adult, okay.
Yes.
I go to work and back, but I tell you, my wife and I were backing off a little bit going places.
Yeah.
We were going to the store. We maybe went out for a drink or two, but we weren't gone the whole time, day after day, night after night.
Yeah.
We policed ourselves pretty well. So isn't there... I mean, there are stories, half the country is going to get this. And but they're still peddling stuff like that. The governor of Ohio is normally a pretty sane guy, Mike DeWine, has been peddling this for weeks now that 150,000 people are going to get it in Ohio or something. I think there's like 217 cases last time I looked. And look, the testing is behind, but some people have gotten it and recovered. Some people have a very mild case. Some people had it, didn't even know it, and it's gone now. I mean, are we delaying this whipping through and leaving by trying to jail everybody, scare everybody, unemploy everybody, get people dependent on some magical check that's going to... You know how long it takes to get checks from the government? It might be July before anybody gets one. Think of your tax returns.
I know.
I filed my taxes in March and got my return in June. I mean, so are we making it? Are we possibly making it worse? I guess is what I'm asking.
There's always that possibility. We are not. I have to hesitate, and because I understand, like I said, that this is serious, and there are people that get affected by this very, very severely. People who die from this. And I don't want anyone to die from this. Not one person do I want to pass away from this illness. However, to say everybody stay home, nobody come out. I think that we can carry it a little too far. And I think that if you look at what's going on in society right now, it is fear-based. You have people, there are more than enough supplies. There really are. If people wouldn't hoard them, but you got people who hoard toilet paper and paper towels and hand sanitizer and all that. And now people are starting to hoard frozen meats and peanut butter. And come on. There is enough. Stop it. Stop it.
I keep thinking the stores are going to have to implement something.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's called.
They're just going to say, "Look, one package a person, and you're not going to do this anymore."
Right.
I mean, ultimately, that's the only thing that's going to stop it. I mean, you're not going to stop. We've helped spread this fear, so we have to live with the kind. When I say we, I mean our leaders, and I use that term loosely. But we're going to have to bear the consequences of it, and I think that's where the stores have to step in and say, "Look, you can't do this." It's one package of butt wipe around. Okay, right. It's 2 things of paper towels. That's all you can buy.
Yeah.
And until that happens, I don't see how.
If you need more than 8 rolls of toilet paper at a time, you got a problem, and you need to go to the doctor.
Yes, lay off that El Toro's if that's the case. But I mean, I'm telling you, the local stuff is what to watch, though. I mean, that's really what to watch.
But I mean, we've seen this, and there have been mayors all over the place that are stepping up and trying to declare these states of emergency. Happened in Nashville, where the mayor shut down all of the bars and restaurants in Nashville. Yeah. And in fact, there was a business owner. He was partial owner of like 3 different places that said, "I'm not closing." Mayor doesn't have the authority to do that. Once the governor says close, I'll close, but I'm not closing for the mayor.
By the way, I want to say Governor Walz's order threatened people with 90 days in jail.
Yes, and up to $1,000 fine.
And I believe a revoke of their liquor license, which is way overstepping because the state does not administer liquor licenses. Municipalities do that.
Absolutely. He doesn't have the right to do it.
Yeah, but he did it. And again, little opposition from many. Oh, it's for the common good. It's to save us all.
Yeah. Well, communism is supposedly for the common good as well. So why don't we just implement that? Let's start killing people in the gulags.
We're heading there pretty rapidly, unfortunately.
Yeah. But I mean, so we've got that mayor. We've got out in New York where Governor Cuomo said
had to rein in De Blasio.
De Blasio, you do not have that authority to.
I gave a nice tweet to Governor Cuomo, who's actually been pretty cool out there. New York has about 40% of the cases right now. Right. And he's actually been pretty calm, I think. And I think he's worked with Washington pretty well. I'm not a fan of him, but politically, but I think calling out by the way, the mayor of New York was at a gym, I think, the night.
He closed the gyms starting at like 5 o'clock, and he went to the gym before 5 to get a workout.
I'm like, what the? I mean, but doesn't that make you wonder? It's like on the one hand, I feel this is really serious, and on the one hand, I feel like it isn't.
Right.
I'm
going to close this, but I got to get one more in. What?
Yeah. He's got to get. He had a goal to do 3 push-ups, by the end of March, and had to go try and get it in there. So I mean. Just incredible arrogance shown there. So,
but here, I mean, Mayor Fry and
Melvin Codd,
they both
upended Governor Walz, though. They did it before the governor did.
Yes, they did.
They went out. But I mean, again, I question how much authority the mayors have too. I mean, to say that a governor, an executive of a state, and there is state statutes that do spell out state of emergency. I think they need some teeth behind them, some clarification behind them, some limits behind them. Yeah. But I mean, for mayors to just take it upon themselves to say, we're gonna, arrest you for walking down the street. I mean, that's beyond even martial law.
Yeah.
That's even beyond that, as far as I'm concerned. which we haven't had real martial law in this country for a long, long time.
Right.
If we've hardly ever had it, and I mean we're getting to a scary, scary point. But exactly. I fear that this will happen every time there's something like this. I mean, I can't shake the feeling that the next time there's anything like this. Because, like I said, government's going to conclude that they stopped it.
Right. Worse yet, they may not conclude they stopped it. What they may conclude is, look, the people did exactly what we told them to. When the next emergency comes, this is what we can get away with. And we can try to push the envelope a little further.
True. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that at all. Why not?
That is worse.
Why not? I mean, there's little that... unfortunately, there's a crowd of people who think that if it's for our safety, if it saves one life, Jay, then it's all worth doing. But like the road to hell was paved with good intentions. And the good intentions of this seem to me to... The economic damage is outweighing...
Oh, yes.
The response to this and the hysteria.
Yeah, the economic damage, I mean, we have yet to see what that all is going to be, but that I think we're definitely going into a recession. We may be going into a depression just because the markets are so crazy and people are selling off. We were due for a correction. That's not a big deal. But people are so scared that they're selling.
Yeah, I bought last week. I must be crazy.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Bought some in my 401k.
No, it hasn't hit the bottom yet.
I think we're close to a bottom. We rallied a little today. I feel like the problem is the people with money are just as for big government as anybody is.
Oh, of course they are.
And it concerns me that the markets seem to go up when we have a bailout provision in place or a huge spending bill passes. But if one doesn't, if anyone questions it, the market tanks 1,000 points.
Right.
It's kind of like, well, gee whiz, come on, you guys. I mean, these millionaires are going to wait. I mean, they're going to steady all these people have made money hand over fist the last 10 years. So, I mean, what the heck?
Yeah.
I tend to think that we're not headed toward a depression. I think that my worry is that it will, employment and unemployment is always a lagging indicator that like you said, were we due for something? Yes, I didn't think it would be this. I thought it would be the housing market again because interest rates can't stay low forever. Yeah. You can't rack up debt forever. You can't endlessly homes go up 10%. That never happens it may happen over a 30-year period with some ups and downs.
Yeah.
But we haven't had a down in a long time in housing, in a good decade. Mm-hmm. And that stuff like that was due. And I thought interest rates would go up. Thered be a clamp on borrowing for a while. But unemployment is really, I think, where people feel a recession. They don't feel it if they can't get a new car. So they feel it if they lose their job.
So this is where we got to watch it. Because the longer we stay in this state, the more businesses are going to close and the more people are going to lose their jobs. And the more people that lose their jobs, the greater the risk of going into a depression. I think it's inevitable. I think that there are restaurants out there that are already weighing. It's like, well, are we going to try and do delivery through this, or are we just closing and laying people off?
It's not that
it's already happening.
It's not that simple, though. A lot of them have contracts for 3 years, 5 years. They could be thinking of not renewing, but for somebody to close this quick, they'd have to have a lease up or something like that. But you're right. I mean, and question is, do they hire...
Or just out of capital.
True. Or do they hire everybody back?
Yeah.
Do they say, okay, you know what? We don't know how business is going to be right away.
People might not be spending money right away.
I mean, they may not. They may stay home for a few months and then come out later.
Yeah.
You don't need this waitress or this cook or this bartender or this hostess. I'll tell you what concerns me is seeing the Ford and General Motors stop producing.
Yes.
I mean, Why would they do that? And I mean, I know why. It's because they know they'll get a bailout. But
well, there's that, and if nobody's working, nobody's buying cars.
True. I mean, but on the flip side of that, if interest rates are super low, the second this comes out, people may start doing that again. But I mean, the idea that they've concluded they're going to lose less money if they just close down and I'll tell you what I really worry about is people who are renting right now. I mean, you're going to get a break on your rent payment? I mean, probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, utilities. I mean, if you're stuck at home, well, the lights you got to pay for electricity.
Lights have to stay on. Water's got to stay running.
Heat still has to be on, and air conditioning probably in a month or so. I mean, it's not just going out to bars and restaurants. That is
right. I mean, there's a whole lot of industries. I mean, that industry is probably being hit the hardest right now. Yeah. But there are other industries definitely that are being hit. I mean, just think of all the librarians out of work.
Well, I keep thinking of a hole-in-the-wall bar and grill in a town of 200. Yeah. That's 100 miles from the nearest corona case, and they have to shut down.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of, where, I think that, that's the hardest for me. And a lot of people who work jobs for tips and things like that, they're not going to get the unemployment that they would make normally. It all sounds great, but to me, I just really worry that this stuff is not being considered well enough, and that, like I said, to have one person think they can shut the state down is really scary, and it's really easy to abuse that. And I think we may be headed for a lockdown in Minnesota. I mean, I don't know why, but it's possible.
It's possible. I think it's going to be really hard. I think in America here, that may be a step too far that we don't handle well.
Who's going to police this?
Yeah, National Guard, I suppose. I mean, there's
National Guard. Even California doesn't have enough National Guardsmen to
oh no, they probably don't. And I know technically we're not supposed to be able to use the military on American soil, but what will they do if there are riots and if there are people who refuse to stay in?
We've seen it before. We've seen it in L.A.
Yeah.
That was probably the last time there was a stay-at-home order, and very few stayed at home.
Yes, that is true.
And it took weeks to calm that. Yeah. I mean, it took a long. Remember that? It took a long time. So I don't know. I don't know. I think that and the mental damage we're doing to people. I mean, it's
isolation's a huge killer.
It is. There Watch The Shining, okay?
Well, I mean,
here's Johnny.
Even that, but I think that the suicide rates are likely to go up because people.
How about divorce rates?
Be alone. Well, that could be too.
Yeah. Not for me. I'm just saying, it could
let's
be.
Hope
but
not.
but and kids not being able to, with their energy and with, not being able to do anything and missing out on the learning that they're missing out on. And
well, that may be a plus.
Well, in some cases it might be, but so anyhow, I mean, we'll continue to monitor this. We'll continue with the show no matter what in our underground layer. We can always go to our underground layer and produce the show. So, and you know what? Here's another thing too, Jay. We're not just going to talk about this, okay? Because I get tired of this.
Yeah.
I want to talk about all of the great subjects that we talk about.
It's true. I mean, this is everywhere all the time, and it's a little bit of fatigue. But I mean, we had to address it. It is the 9 trillion pound elephant in the room, which. We have to address it, and we'll probably have some updates here and there, but we're not going to be all coronavirus all the time. It's like nothing but COVID-19.
We're not going to be CNN.
You can get enough of that.
By the way,
yes,
the Iron Sheik.
Oh boy,
just tweeted today.
Yes,
he said. realistically, Corona is jabroni, and you can go self. That was the Iron Sheik today.
Very nice.
Well, I'm just quoting directly here. The Tom Brady have sex with the whatever he want. That was another Iron Sheik quote today. I just love reading his what he says.
He's a character.
Until further notice, you're a jabroni. Talking to Gene Mean. Talking to Gene Mean. That's his word. Just, this is a podcast. I'm not going to go Joe Rogan on you, but that was funny anyhow. So here's the thing. I just feel. I think we're going to hit a plateau in this soon, but I think we're in for some pain in the real short term.
Yeah, and short term, unfortunately, maybe next 18 months.
Now that I don't buy, but
we'll see.
I mean, if it's true that there's no new cases in South Korea, I don't know why it would take 18 months here. But that's just
I don't think it's. I think we'll see it dry up. I think we'll see it come back though in a different wave, unless things work out with the vaccines. And there's some rumors about some things that might be working. And if that's the truth, that's great. It'll still have to go through FDA and all those kind of approvals.
Screw the FDA.
Whatever. But anyways, that's for a different podcast. For ours, you have some local politicians out there that are willing to take power away from you, power that's rightfully yours, to govern your own affairs. That is called self-determination. That is called freedom. And we can't have that. So what are you going to do about it? Because we are still in an election year, COVID-19 or not. And if we sit on the sidelines, we are just as guilty of giving in and kowtowing to these tyrants that want to tell us that they can control whether we buy firearms or ammo or gas, that can take our property and the title to our property. And it's not going to happen if we stand up.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
I'm not going to read this Iron Sheik tweet.
Yeah.
But he talks about putting the coronavirus in the camel clutch. And blankety blank after that.
Oh, boy. Oh, my goodness. All right. There you have it. It's an election year, so stand up. Get a hold of us, and we would love to help you put together a plan that will help you win and restore freedom and roll back these changes that have come to our shores thanks to this virus. Government has been licking its chops for a long time, waiting for an excuse to put these measures into effect so that they can take from you what is rightfully yours, what is granted by God himself. They want to put themselves in that place. They want to take that from you, and we cannot allow that to happen. So who's with me? Get a hold of us at COMMSolutionsMN@gmail.com. That is COMMSolutionsMN@gmail.com. And let's do it. It's time for Team 20K to stand up and be counted here in the year 2020.
Jay, you just sounded like Dirty Harry.
Yeah?
All right, I watched Ferris Bueller the other day.
My word.
Now with your bad knee, Ed, you should throw anybody.
So good. All right.
And I'm going to talk next week about all the things I watch while I'm caged up.
Oh, boy.
So you get ready for some 80s movies.
Get ready.
Some baseball games.
Yeah.
And some wrestling podcasts.
Awesome. It'll be good. We'll watch paint dry together.
And Iron Sheik tweets.
Too. Let us know in the comments what you guys are watching. Give us some ideas, and maybe we'll watch some of that stuff too. All right, it's that time again, and we love you guys so much, and we're so thankful that you listen to this podcast faithfully, and that you're going to transform your communities. We know it, because we see what's around the bend. And as long as you allow yourself to be counted and to not lay down and take this, we will win in the end. So thank you so much We love you, Minnesota, and now it's your turn to get to work.
Take my life, caught a break between the lines. Don't let me